Ladies, this is probably one of the most important shows you'll ever watch about your breast health. So stick around and stay tuned. In fact, grab a friend to watch with you and come on back. We'll be right back. Welcome to Love My Body, Love Myself. I am Alicia Couri, your host, and today's guest is so incredibly important. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we have a guest that if you've never heard of thermography before, you're going to want to watch this entire episode because it can change your life. It can save your life and save the life of a loved one. So before we get into the guest, I do want to share a couple things with you. First of all, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, welcome, because we stream live on YouTube, we stream live on LinkedIn, we stream live on Facebook as well. So welcome. We're also there on Twitch. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. And like I said before, share this stream out with a friend. Share it with someone. Send them the link. Give someone a call. Text them. Say, hey, tune in right now. Tune in right now, because this information is vital for your health and for your safety. So go ahead. I'm going to give you 2 seconds to tune in and invite someone. Also, you can just comment, leave me a comment. Let me know if you're here, if you're watching. I will go back and respond to your comments. So leave us a comment if you're watching. If this show is helping you, if it's going to help someone else, I want to hear it in the comments. I want you to tell me and let me know how this information is going to help you, because that helps me bring more information like this to you if it's something that is of value to you. Okay, so if it's bringing value to you, please let me know in the comments so that I can continue to do this. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to our channel. We want to bring you more and more of this content, so subscribe to our channel. And if you are on any other platform watching, please head on over to our YouTube channel. It's going across the bottom. You'll see youtube.com/C/Alicia Couri. So go ahead and give us a subscribe, ring that bell so that you don't miss any notifications. And also, please give this video a thumbs up. I would love for you to give this video a thumbs up if you are on YouTube. If you are on Facebook, if you're watching in our group on Facebook, when you leave a comment, just tag it at the end of your name. We'll put your comments up on screen, whether you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. We'll put your comments on the screen. Also on Twitch. I don't want to leave you out of this. I'll put your comments up. And then if you're on the Facebook page, which is the Facebook group page, it's facebook.com/groups/LMBLM, Love My Body, Love Myself. Just tag your name at the end so we know who it is, so we can give you props for that. And if you are on any other of the Facebook pages that you're fine, you can just go ahead and comment and we can pop you right up on the screen, because we love to acknowledge you with the pop-ups. Also, you can give us some hearts, you can give us some thumbs up if this content is valuable to you. So one last thing is, this show is sponsored by Alicia Couri Inc. And it's produced by Red Carpet CEO. So Alicia Couri Inc., we provide consulting around team development and leadership development for you and your organization to help you reach your goals, to identify those gaps, to make sure that we can close up those gaps, find the right people, put them in the right seats, and help you execute on your goals. If you would like to sponsor a show or be a guest expert or just a guest on the show, we have guest opportunities and sponsorship opportunities for this show. Just email us at support@Alicia Couri. support@aliciacouri.com. We would love to have you on the show or support the show if you feel like the content that you're bringing is very valuable, that we're bringing is valuable and pertains to you or your organization, or if you just want to help us out with some of our expenses, just go ahead and send us an email, support@aliciacouri.com. Finally, if you would like to connect with me, feel free to connect with me at alicia360.com. You can just open up a browser and type in Alicia, Alicia 360.com, and that will give you every possible way that you can connect with me right there on that site. So I'm looking forward to you connecting with me. And having said all of that, now I am super, super excited to introduce our guest. I interviewed her a couple weeks ago for this show, and let me tell you, my eyes were opened. I was informed like I've never been informed before about this stuff, and I go to her. I'm her client, and some of the information that she shared is just phenomenal. So, and I'll probably invite her back another time because she's such a wealth of information. I have the most amazing guests that come on the show, and I'm so blessed and I'm so thankful for that, for them saying yes to this. So please stick around, stay tuned, and Alicia will be right back. Well, yeah, me. We'll be right back to share this vital information. So grab a girlfriend to watch with you. And even if you want to watch it with a significant other or a spouse, grab them too, because this is vital information every woman should have. All right, get ready, strap on your seatbelts, and let's go. Well, hello, and thank you so much for joining me. And thank you, Alicia, for introducing me. So my guest today, or our guest today, is Donna Tomey Barahona. She is with Thermography First. And let me tell you a little bit more about Donna. She has been a licensed, certified clinical thermographer since 2007. And she is with Thermography First, her own practice, helping women to get healthy and understand their bodies. And I am super, super excited to have Donna here with us today because Donna is the thermographer that I go to. So welcome, Donna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And we have a lot to dig into today because Donna is also a breast cancer survivor. And we're going to get into her story a little bit later on in the episode. But first, I want Donna to really explain what thermography is.
The best way to start is by explaining the differences between mammograms and thermograms, because so many of us are doing that every year. Mammograms are structural or anatomical tests. And what that means is they're looking for structures, they're looking for tumors, they're looking for calcifications, they're looking for things that are already present in the breast. But do you know how long it takes for the average tumor to grow? Most women don't. It's an average of 6 to 10 years, and it has to contain over 4 billion cancer cells. So wow. I hate to say it, but mammograms are not early detection and they're not prevention. They're just detection once you already have cancer. So we're trying to avoid that with thermography. So you've got the mammogram, which is a structural test. And you have the thermography, without using radiation, of course, is considered a physiological test. It's looking for very different things. And thermography, it's not really about looking for tumors. It's about looking for very early abnormal warning signs for early tumor development, such as inflammation, pattern changes, vascular development, blood vessel growth, all those things that precede or come before the tumor is actually picked up with a mammogram or a structural test.
Wow.
The very beginning process of that is called angiogenesis or neovascularity. And that means baby blood vessels. New blood vessels will start to form to attach to a cluster of cancer cells. It needs to be about 256 cancer cells which is a 2-year growth. And that's when angiogenesis or new blood vessels will begin in the breast. And that's where thermography really shines. That's where it's really picking up those abnormal changes. So we kind of have to get out of the mindset of let's look for the tumor and think, okay, something is brewing. Let's find out what these abnormalities are, and let's start reversing it with hormone balancing and proper diet and nutrition and all the things that comes with a healthy lifestyle.
Wow. So this is really pre-detection.
Yes.
This is early detection, because when you start seeing those changes happening, you can start doing something about it before it becomes a tumor, or before it grows into a mass that you can see on a mammogram.
Exactly.
And how soon would you say women should start having these thermographic imaging?
Mid to late 20s would be a perfect time, because it does take many years for tumors to grow. So that's really the ideal time to start doing it.
So then you can start seeing, you have a benchmark, and you can start seeing different things.
Exactly.
Wow. And how did you discover thermography yourself?
Well, after my own diagnosis in 2006, well, I'll back up a little bit. I actually had my first thermogram in 2002. So it's been almost 20 years since I had my first thermogram. And that was because my sister, who is an acupuncturist, told me about it. I think I was almost 40 at that time. I don't recall exactly my age, but I was younger. She said, we're having a thermographer come to the office. And I was like, what's that? And she said, you don't need a mammogram. You can just come here and do this. I'm like, okay. So I did it, and it came back very abnormal. My thermography was extremely abnormal. And unfortunately, I was going through some personal issues back then, and I never went back for my 3-month follow-up. And that's really critical to do, because active cancer cells double every 90 days. So the only way to really establish a baseline is to have 2 studies conducted 90 days apart. And as long as they're stable and there's no changes, then you come back once a year. Well, I never went back for my 3-month follow-up. 4 years later is when I found that lump. So I had my warning 4 years prior, never did anything about it, found the lump 4 years later, and elected to have a mastectomy of that breast. And then 6 weeks after the mastectomy of that breast, I remembered about thermography. So I decided to do another one with the local thermographer at the time. And it already showed cancerous development in my other breast. And after having just gone through, excuse my language, but the hell of breast cancer, I'm already getting it again. And this is what that my thermography is telling me. I can't believe this. I have to go through this again. Now, mammogram never picked that up, of course, because it wasn't a tumor. It was an extremely significant vascular changes in my left breast that was still in the development stages. So that's when I found a good functional doctor who gave me the proper testing, most notably the Dutch test, which is a urine metabolite test that actually told me that my hormones were literally metabolizing to promote cancer. And that's what I focused on. So following her protocol for 10 months and doing thermographic pictures the entire time, every few months, I was able to follow my progress, monitor my progress, and see those significant changes decreasing. And at the 10-month mark is when I completely reversed that abnormality in my other breast. That's when I realized, oh my gosh, wow, if it was not for thermography and getting my hormones balanced and all that, I would have absolutely had cancer again, had that breast likely removed, but I still would have never addressed the underlying estrogen issues that I had.
Yeah. See, this is what is so devastating to me as a woman, is that traditional medicine, or because I've heard of thermography many years prior. In fact, I did a show in 2017 about it, but I never went. I never had thermography done myself until more recently with you. But the reason I didn't do it was I went to my doctor and I asked them about it, and they said, oh, no, you don't need that. We're doing regular mammograms, so they don't even understand what thermography is, what it detects, what it shows, and that the traditional medical community, they're not promoting it at all as early detection. And that's what's scary to me.
Well, your typical conventional doctor doesn't really understand inflammation in the breasts. They're looking for something solid. They're looking for a tumor because that's what they can work with. They can say, okay, we see a tumor. We know what to do with that. But they're not going to look at a thermogram and go, okay, well, there's no tumor here. What are we supposed
What
to
do we
do?
do? What are we supposed to do?
They're not going to say, okay, well, fix your diet, because most doctors, what they get a few hours of nutrition in school. They're not there to help you with nutrition. They're not nutritionists. And they just don't embrace it because they're not preventative doctors. And it is unfortunate, but that's not what they do.
Yeah. And listen, this show is not about bashing anybody or any particular thing. Why I say it's scary, it's because we need to know and understand all the tools or resources that we have available to us, because we have to be our own advocates. We have to be our best advocates, because, you know, when something comes across your like this show is coming across to you and you're hearing about something, you'll go to your doctor like I did. And my doctor just said, oh, no, you don't need that. But listen to what we're saying. We're not diagnosing anything. We're not telling you what to do, but we're advising you that you need to be your best advocate here, because breast cancer is rampant. And I had a doctor tell me that it's the estrogen, you know, we have this estrogen that feeds the cancer cells. I'm saying, well, if the estrogen feeds the cancer cells, what do you do about the estrogen? And they were like, nothing. We just get rid of the breast.
Well, what they'll do is they'll give you medication, tamoxifen or aromatase inhibitor, which completely and utterly stops any and all hormones. And that's their answer, but that may not necessarily be the answer. It's not really about stopping the hormones. It's about finding out how they're methylating. And that's what the urine metabolite test will really help with. And it's literally just a matter of taking a few supplements to help with that. You don't have to, you know, I'm not going to say you shouldn't take that medication because obviously I'm not a doctor, but you really have to start doing your own research and look up these medications on the World Health Organization. You'll find that many of them are actually carcinogens. So you're putting a carcinogen in your body.
Something here, but it's going to promote liver cancer or something else later on, further down the road.
Right. And then after, if you take, and usually they'll prescribe those medications for 5 years, sometimes 10 years. But what happens after that? Your hormones might start surging again and you're right back to where you started. You never really fixed the problem.
That's how I look at things. Like, let's get to the root and pull the root out.
Exactly.
You know, let's not put a Band-Aid, or let's just, you know, so please, I am imploring you in this show. We're not diagnosing and we're not saying doctors are bad and don't go to your doctor. We're just saying, do your research, be your own advocate. And I'm so thankful that I came to Donna through a mutual friend to help me understand these things, because it can be a life or death situation. And even if it's not a life or death situation, as a woman, and this show is called Love My Body, Love Myself, to have to make the decision to have a mastectomy is a big decision that you have to make. And so, you know, really do your research and see what is there for you. The Love My Body, Love Myself show is sponsored by Alicia Couri, Inc. and produced by Red Carpet CEO. Alicia Couri, Inc. is a boutique consulting firm that specializes in developing audaciously proactive leaders and teams using brain science and people data to get results. For more information, you can visit our website, www.aliciacouri.com. And the show is produced by Red Carpet CEO. If you would like a copy of my book, which is Age with Audacious Confidence, please go to our link tree, which is linktr.ee/acouri, and look for Age with Audacious Confidence. So let's go on and get back to the show. Now, let me know when you want to show the images, if you want to explain a little bit more about the inflammation and the vascular flow.
Sure.
So do you want me to show them now and you talk through it?
Go ahead. Yeah, I'd be happy.
because I'm excited about this. Because listen, when I did my show 4 years ago, I didn't have pictures to show, and I have pictures to show now so that you can understand what is happening and what it looks like. So, yeah, let's take a look.
All right, so this is a picture of your typical normal symmetrical breast pattern. It doesn't mean the breasts are actually symmetrical. It doesn't always mean symmetry of the breast itself. It's pattern symmetry. If you go back to the first one, if you can go back to the very first one, is that possible?
Sure. Yep.
Okay. There you go. So this is your a normal breast scan. Now in thermography, the yellow colors are warm, the red colors are hot, and then the white colors are the hottest. And then you've got the cooler colors that are the greens and the blues and the dark blues. So when you see symmetrical breast patterns, as you see here, that's really what you want. Now, not every woman has symmetrical patterns, but as long as those patterns don't change, that's really the key. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, what's the red mean? Does that mean cancer? No, not necessarily, because every woman is very different. It's like your fingerprint. Your fingerprints never change, right? Nor
Right.
should your breast patterns. And your breast patterns will only change in your entire life if you're pregnant or you're nursing or there's a potential malignancy developing. So providing there's no change, that's really what we want to look at. So this is actually really a great example of a normal symmetrical breast scan with symmetrical patterns, symmetrical colors.
Excellent. So I hope you're picking up on that you're not looking for anything like the red isn't necessarily mean a bad thing.
Right. And here's a perfect example of that. You can see this woman's left breast. It's a mirror image. So the left breast has a little more yellow in it. You see kind of a little more lines and a little more patterns. And then you see the right breast, which has more blues. It's more symmetrical. But this pattern for her has never changed in all the years she's been seeing me. And that's the thing, is that her patterns have never, ever changed. And we don't want it to change. So this is her normal. So,
Right.
But even though they're a little different, same thing here. You have a little bit of an asymmetry in the right breast. You see it's slightly larger than the left breast, but her patterns are a little, she's got some vascularity in both breasts. And you can see it. There's really nothing concerning here, but very early cancerous changes don't usually show up as hot. What they do show are very subtle pattern changes. That's why you need a thermologist to do the interpretation. I don't ever read these. I just do the imaging and educate women. So when you've got a thermologist looking at these patterns, although there may not be a lot they can actually see with the first, you're not going to tell you a lot with the first one, and unless there's a really significant vascular asymmetry. So when you get the first report back, if you have breasts that look like this, they're probably not going to be able to tell you a lot because they don't look significantly different. But when you do the follow-up is where you're really going to know if there's anything subtle going on.
Right. Because like you said, cancer cells double every 90 days.
Right.
So when you go for your follow-up in 90 days, you get to see if something has changed or shifted in that pattern, which signifies that, yep, something else is going on over here because we see more flow going to this area or something like that.
Right.
Okay. And then this one.
I don't recall. I think this was about a year ago. I know that she had just had a mammogram a few months prior to this image, but she still felt, she just had a gut feeling that something was going on her left breast. Now she was supposed to go back for another mammogram, even though it didn't really show something. It just said do a follow-up in 6 months because she had just had one. Well, clearly in thermography, you can see that left breast has major significant vascular patterns in it. This is now, thermography is not a diagnostic test. It's a screening tool. So while this will never say you have breast cancer, it will tell you you have a high probability for the disease. But you can see the major asymmetry in vascular flow, meaning there's definitely something feeding the cancer, and those are blood vessels. And that's what you see here in this picture.
Wow.
And even though a tumor may not surface until a few years from now, she's got a big head start on fixing this problem before it does become a tumor.
Yeah, so fascinating. This is so fascinating. And then I think we have a couple more images.
Same thing here. You can actually see on the left breast, there's a vascular feed on the upper inner left breast, you see a vascular
Yeah.
line there. It's a red line. That is called a vascular feed, and that is feeding a tumor. And that is more than likely an estrogen-fed tumor.
Mm.
And you can
Wow.
see the tumor itself, you'll never see because this is not a structural test. But what you're seeing here is the actual inflammation, the inflammatory response, the physiological response that's happening, that's surrounding this metabolically active tumor. Because tumors, most of them, unless they're encapsulated, are very highly metabolic. They're on a completely different frequency, and that's where the inflammation it comes from.
Yeah, I don't know how scary it is to see that.
Yeah, here's another one. And likely this person also has lymph node involvement. You can see under her armpits, her axillary areas, very, very intense red. Now, sometimes this just means lymphatic congestion. In this case, there's likely lymphat cancer in the lymph nodes here. You can see how intensely red it is. The left breast again, you see the white, which is the hottest in thermal imaging. So you have an intense situation here that really is serious. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This person
Yeah.
either has it or is on her way to getting it.
Does it look like they've had a mastectomy?
This
Or
one? No,
yeah,
her left
no?
breast is swollen. Her left breast is
Oh,
swollen. You
so
can
the left
see,
breast is swollen.
yeah, you can see the left breast is larger. You can see it's
Yeah.
higher and it's tighter than
Yeah.
the other one.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is, and the purpose of all this is to make sure that you get the right treatment.
Yes. This next picture is actually me. That was my very first thermogram taken in 2002. And like I had mentioned earlier, that I got my warning and I never heeded it. I never went back for my 3-month follow-up. And imagine if this was my first scan and it was already abnormal and I didn't find that tumor till 4 years later. How long do you think it takes for your typical tumor to grow?
Yeah.
6 to 10 years in many cases, depending upon the aggressiveness of it.
Wow. Yikes.
And this is actually after surgery, after my reconstruction. The left breast is the one that, well, the right breast was removed and reconstructed. So I have an implant there. The left breast, you can see that particular, I think if you go to the next picture, if we go to the next picture and then come back to this one, I think that will make more sense there we go. Now, okay, this is 6 weeks after the mastectomy of my right breast. You can see the right breast is non-existent. There's no lump there. But the left breast here, that's the closest one to the camera, where you see the white, that is significant vascular changes to a developing tumor, okay? So that's what happened 6 weeks after the mastectomy of my right breast. That's when I found a good functional doctor and was able to reverse those changes.
Wow.
And save my left breast. And then if you go back to the other one,
go back to this one. So then this one,
the left breast, you can see significantly better, right?
yes.
There's no whites. There's no specific areas of inflammation. And of course, the right breast you can see is now, there's an implant there. So it's more symmetrical.
Right. But so if you have implants, how does that affect the imaging?
Sometimes they look very blue and very cold. In my case, mine was a little warmer for whatever reason, but many times they're blue, and it doesn't affect the imaging itself because this isn't looking for structure. This is looking for things beyond that. So with implants, it doesn't matter whether you have them or not. Thermography is a great modality with or without. And even with women that have had full mastectomies that don't do reconstructive surgery, they have nothing except 2 scars along their chest, and cancer can come back on the chest wall. So I actually have several clients who do thermography every year and they have no breasts. They just want to make sure their chest wall is good.
Wow. Okay. So that's another great tip. So even if you've had breast cancer before and you've had the mastectomy and not done reconstructive, still do regular screenings, because at that point you can't do a mammogram anymore.
Right. And ultrasound, yeah. And I always tell my clients to pair or complement their thermogram with a breast ultrasound. It's up to the individual if they'd like to do a mammogram. I always leave it up to the girls. I personally don't do them, but I do breast ultrasound every year along with the thermography.
Yeah. And that's the machine right behind you. So, walk us through just a typical process of having it done.
Okay, sure. So obviously you come to the office. The first thing I typically do is have someone change. So they're going to remove their shirt and their bra. They're going to put on a paper exam cape, and then they're going to fill out their paperwork. And it's chilly in here. It's about 68 degrees. It's important for, yeah, it's a little chilly. So everybody goes, oh, it's so cold. But I always tell them in advance, they're supposed to read certain things on my website that explain all that. So it's a little chilly, and it has to be, because if you're too hot, if your body temperature is too hot, you just show up as really warm, and it makes it a little more
challenging to
tedious
read.
for the, yeah. So it's important to bring your temperature down, so you'll cool a bit while you fill out your paperwork. And then after that, we chat a little bit, 5-10 minutes. I explain how thermography
Are you cool
works.
like this? You
Yes.
cool with your hands
That's
up
right.
in the air.
That's right. And after a while, they're like, oh my God, could I take my arms down? So about 5 minutes up like this. And then after I've explained everything, then we start doing the imaging. The imaging itself takes less than 5 minutes if you're just doing the breast screening. And then after that, I show them their images. I don't interpret them, like I said, but I do tell them what I can. I explain how the colors work, and they get the results in about 1 week. They'll be mailed out to them. They'll get 2 full color copies, including all their images, in about a week. And then if they have any questions, they can call me. And what I do like to do is pre-schedule their 3-month follow-up. I think that's really important. Now, you
don't miss it.
Right. And to ensure that, and what was never offered to me back in 2006 or 2002 was a discount for prepaying for your follow-up. So what I do is, if you prepay for your breast follow-up, I offer a $50 prepayment discount, and I would say about 95% of people will prepay. That's really important. If that was offered to me, I probably would have done that and then done my 3-month follow-up back then.
And since you're talking prepay, do you take insurance? Is there insurance available for thermography?
I don't take insurance. I'm not a provider. I'm not a doctor. I don't have any sort of provider number. I'm just an imaging technician. So I wouldn't actually be able to accept insurance. But what I do tell my clients is, if they have really good insurance, like a very high PPO plan, there's a good chance of coverage. So I'll send them a detailed receipt. There's no diagnostic code or procedural code for thermography anymore anyway. So I'll just send them a detailed receipt with all my information on it, and hopefully they'll get some money back. You never know.
That's helpful. This conversation is so important. I had gone for a test, and a friend of mine said, have you done thermography? And I said, no, I have not done thermography. But even though I did the show several years ago, I was still ignorant to how important having this kind of imaging done, as far as, like, you went into a lot more detail with me in talking about the vascular flow and talking about seeing, you're not looking for structure. You're looking at how your blood vessels and what's feeding any kind of tumor, what's feeding into the breast area. And, but not only that, Donna, you are such a wealth of information. You provided so much more to me than just that. You talked about the Dutch test. You talked about hormones. You talked about, using different supplements, and you have really, really educated me. And that's what I want to share with women. Find someone that can educate you on the benefits of doing something and investing in yourself, even if insurance doesn't cover it. This is your health. You have to love your body enough to invest in the things that will promote good health for you.
Absolutely. It is quite a journey. And there's a lot of fearful women out there. As soon as they get that diagnosis, they are scared, they're frightened, they start calling everybody they know. They're getting 25 different opinions. And I tell you what, the best thing you can do is have 1 or 2 friends to confide in. Obviously, get your doctor, try to find someone who's open-minded to thermography and monitoring progress. Try to get someone who is open to you trying different therapies, not just a one-size-fits-all approach. I've had women, I've been doing this 15 years, I've had women with full-blown tumors who have completely reversed them in less than a year just by following an alternative protocol. And I've had the opposite happen. Women who have had very tiny tumors and they've gotten worse in a year because they don't follow a specific protocol, or they're not fixing the hormonal issue. I've had vegans and athletes fit people that you would look at and go, oh, they'll never get a sick in a day in their life, and they've got cancer. And those are usually a hormonal issue. And it's so important not just to eat properly, but drinking and water and exercising and sweating. And what kind of deodorants do you use? Do you wear underwire bras every day? What kind of meat are you eating? If you eat meat, are you eating conventional? Are you eating organic and grass fed? Are you stressed? Are you in a toxic relationship? What kind of lotions are you putting on your body? Do they have mineral oils and endocrine disruptors? These are, it
The plastic.
becomes this, this giant, you have to live it. You've got to live it. You've got to breathe it. It's never just about, oh, I'll just have some sprouts and a salad and I'll be good to go. Oh, no. It is
You have
all
to change.
encompassing.
Yeah, there's a
Everything.
lot of stuff you got to change in your lifestyle, change to make sure that you are doing the right things
Yes.
for your body and your health. Oh my goodness. And so Donna, you talked a little bit about your own story and how you were able to, through doing the right protocols, save your right breast from having
Left.
to go through, sorry, your left breast, right?
That's
You know
okay.
what?
Can't keep track,
Your
I know.
left breast from having to go through what you went through with your right. And so I know you're not a doctor and you're not you can't prescribe and you can't. So I want to make sure that we're saying these things to people so they don't say, well, on your show, you told me to do this. I'm not
No,
telling you
I
this.
can only tell you what I did, but I'm not a nutritionist. I can't tell anybody what to do. Yeah.
Right. And having biopsies done, talk a little bit about doing a biopsy and from your experience.
Sure. Well, I mean, personally, when I had the biopsy, I wasn't expecting it and it was extremely painful. I cried all the way home. I had an ice pack on my breast. It was just like they jabbed a needle in my tumor and called it a day. And I was I was mortified. I was like, my God, you didn't even warn me that this was happening. Now, it might be a little bit different today. This was 15 years ago, but biopsies, unfortunately, are the only true way to actually get in there and pull out the cells and see if there's cancer. So that's really the only true diagnostic way. You're going to send that sample to pathology. They're going to be able to stage it. They're going to be able to tell you if there's estrogen, progesterone receptors, if it's HER2 positive, if it's triple negative. There's a lot of information that you can get from a biopsy, and you'll never, unfortunately, be able to get surgery without having a biopsy because the doctors don't know what they're getting into. However, they can be overprescribed. It's like I have women in here all the time that have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 biopsies in a couple of years' times because they're very cystic. And I feel that that's very unnecessary. And many times that can be avoided by doing thermography, by doing breast ultrasound, by seeing if those little lumps and cysts and nodules in their breasts are abnormally shaped. Because an ultrasound is great for being able to tell if a cyst or a nodule or a mass is fluid filled, if it's solid, if it's irregular shaped, is it a mass, is it a fibroadenoma? I mean, there's so many things it can be. And by doing a breast ultrasound, you can actually look at the cyst itself, get it measured, tell you so much information about it without possibly doing all these biopsies. You know, sometimes you're just really overprescribed. Now, if you have cancer in the tumor, there is a phenomenon. There's actually a published study about it. It's called seeding. Like seed, you're planting seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And when you puncture a tumor with cancer cells in it, those cancer cells can be released and they migrate elsewhere in the body, which may not be a big deal if you're a relatively healthy person with a great immune system. But if you have cancer, the chances of your immune system not being in a great spot is very high. You know, if you had a great immune system and great hormones, you probably wouldn't have breast cancer in the first place. But doing a biopsy sometimes is an unnecessary evil. But like I said, the majority, many of them can be avoided if you do the thermography and the breast ultrasound.
Well, thank you so much, Donna. And
you're welcome.
Yes, I'm going to make sure that everyone has your contact info to get in touch with you. If they live in the South Florida area, anywhere from West Palm Beach to Miami, that they can come see you at Thermography First. Who knows? People might want to fly in here.
I have people. I had a lady here
Yeah.
came in from the Bahamas. I have several people from the Bahamas. I have people that fly in on occasion a few times a year. And there are thermographers all over the country. There's actually a great website to go to. If you want me to tell you what it is, anybody who's listening to this that may not live in the South Florida area, go to Thermology Online, thermologyonline.org. You can find every single approved thermography clinic in the entire world. So domestically and internationally, thermologyonline.org, that will tell you every single thermography clinic. So obviously, if you're not in Southeast Florida, find one. They're all over the place. They're not, next door to each other. We are kind of few and far in between, but you can definitely find one, hopefully, in your neck of the woods.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
You're welcome.
your time and for sharing such a valuable service for us women and men. Men can also have thermography done.
Yes.
So, take care of yourself, get regularly screened, because this can be reversed if caught early enough.
Prevention is
save
key.
Your life.
Prevention is absolutely key. That is really, what did our mothers used to say? An ounce of prevention is, or an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of wellness.
Yeah, a pound of cure, an ounce of prevention.
Yes.
So take care of your health, take care of yourself, get screened early. This is an early detection tool that you can have in your toolkit. So thank you, Donna. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. Mwah.
And I will see you again soon for my next, in 6 months or so, for my next screening.
Sounds great, Alicia. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye.
Oh my goodness. Wasn't that some amazing, amazing information? If you are looking for someone to do thermography, to have a specialist, go to thermologyonline.org, thermologyonline.org. We had as our guest today, Donna Tomey Barahona with Thermography First. She just dropped so much valuable information for you. Remember, she talked about this is an early screening tool. It's not looking for structure. It's not looking for tumors or lumps. It's looking for inflammation, vascular flow, the introduction of new blood vessels or a cluster of blood vessels that's feeding into something. These are the early stages. This is before tumors are formed. They can detect something going on in your breast tissue. And it's not just for the breast. They can do full body scans. They can test everywhere in your body. They can scan everywhere, not test, scan everywhere in your body to see where that inflammation is or where there's vascular flow difference. So the faster you can get a baseline scan done, then that will help you see any changes. And you go as often as they tell you to go. If it's once a year, you go once a year. And that way you can start seeing if there's any changes in your inflammation or vascular flow or blood vessel formation using thermology. So I think this was really vital information. If you want to contact Donna, she is very open. You can look her up on Facebook. You can look her up. Look for Thermography First. That is her business, Thermography First. You can look it up on Google, and please get in touch with her if you need to find out more about thermography and get this early screening done. It is super, super important to have this early detection tool in your toolkit. Remember, we said, be your best advocate. You need to be your best health advocate so you can love your body and love yourself. And please, please share this information out with everybody. I can't implore you enough. The information provided today has been through Donna's practice. Everything that she's shared with us has been her own personal experience and her years doing thermography, providing this service for women. So she is a credible source, but we're not dispensing medical advice to you. I want to make that distinction. We're not dispensing medical advice. We are sharing information that now you can take and really explore on your own what is the best methodology for you, what are the best resources for you to use in this fight against breast cancer. So until next week, when we have another amazing show for you, I encourage you to love your body and love yourself. Until next time.